Episode 4 was presented by another guest instructor, and it was such an honor to welcome Elizabeth Hill, Lisa Hill, also known as Plain Weave on Instagram. Sometimes weavers are more famous by their handle out there in the world. Lisa is from Massachusetts, and she came all the way to Salt Spring to film 2 episodes with me, and what an honor it was to get to work with her. That's one of the best things about how the School of Weaving is evolving over the years, is that I am now in a position where I have the opportunity to bring in other magnificent weavers, and it enriches my life so much. Not only does it enrich your life, but it enriches my life. That's a pretty cool bonus, I have to say. So I asked Lisa to prepare an episode on Deflected Double Weave. In season 8, I gave you your first little stab at it. We did a 4-shaft project. We did an 8-shaft project with a lot of beautiful scarves in it. But I wanted her to create an episode where it was based on something that we had done in the past. So the 4-shaft portion of this episode, she went right back to season 3, and she overlayered the 2 of the concepts from season 3, which were collapsed fabrics using yarns with differential shrinkage and denting. We had a whole episode on denting. We had a whole episode, denting is where you leave spaces in your warp. And we had a whole episode on differential shrinkage. It was called collapsible fabrics. Anyway, she paired those 2 ideas beautifully, which for me just makes all of this so exciting, is when we overlay, and we take things from one box and mix it up with something else in another box, and this is what we got. So she used a beautiful fine merino. This was our Jagger spun merino when it was still around, and that is our shrinker, and our non-shrinker is 16-2 bamboo. So we have this lovely little shrinkage, two blocks, A's and B's, and we've got a heavy thick thread around our non-shrinking yarns, and that is created by using multiple ends of the merino in one heddle to make it fatter. But down at the bottom is where it gets exciting. So in the tie-up, we learned to change the tie-up so that we could weave it like a dented piece of fabric at the very beginning, which is what's happening down here in the cloth. So you can see that it's dented. When it comes off the loom, things shift and move into place. But these fellers, this B block, all these guys over here, they weren't weaving because we took them out of the weaving in the tie-up so that we just had denting at the bottom. How cool is that? All right, so they weren't doing anything, which meant that when the piece of fabric came off the loom, they needed to be twisted, and they could be interwoven in through these little holes, or they can hang out here on this end. I have them interwoven in the first one. They're going down through this hole and up through this hole, but then they hang out and create this exquisite fun fringe. So that's the exciting thing about what I'm always trying to do here at the school, is to push our ideas and to make everyone realize that we can blend ideas, that we have these concepts that we learn as a something, but we can take that ingredient and throw that ingredient onto something else once we unleash our creative powers. And most importantly, the whole idea of what if, I wonder if I could. So Lisa nailed this one. I was so happy to see it. Look at the hand and drape on this piece of fabric. Comes with a great PDF that explains it all. And then Lisa taught us something new. And she made another connection around threadings and tie-ups. You know, we thread deflected double weave 1s and 2s against 3s and 4s. That is one block of M's and O's. 1 2 1 2 3 4 3 4 is a block of M's and O's. So she taught us how to turn that structure and create turned M's and O's on the same threading. On 4 shafts, everything is so interconnected. We don't realize how interconnected they are until we stand back and look at all these similar threadings. So this is now a beautiful second scarf where we learned in the PDF and in the filming how to turn a draft step by step, and it's 4 shaft. So we've got deflected double weave and we have turned M's and O's for the 4 shaft project, all on the same warp. The only thing we had to do here was change the tie-up and our treadling, of course. Can't do one without the other. But all of that was explained beautifully in the episode. You have a great description of how everything worked, and we learned how to turn a draft and how to slay it and everything you need to create these 2 beautiful scarves. So that's what we did for our 4 shaft kids. And then for our 8 shaft kids, I asked Lisa if she could do a gamp. We talked about, well, actually, it all came because Janet Phillips posted, it came about because Janet Phillips posted this awesome deflected double weave gamp on Instagram. And the minute I saw it, I knew that was the approach that I needed to take to bring this all home to everybody. And so I even emailed Janet Phillips and said, hey, can we use your idea? I think it's brilliant. So she was nice and said yes. Anyway, this threading for the gamps. So Lisa, she is so clever with words. She should have been a writer or a wordsmith because she's so talented in so many ways. She called these gampkins because what's the use of just making a bunch of gamps that sit in your drawer when you could make them into napkins? So they're studies that could be brought into the kitchen and you can use them as napkins. They're all the same size, but they were created based on taking our 4 shaft twill gamp that we did back in season 4. We spent season 4 studying 4 shaft twills in quite depth, I think. There's many more things we could do, but we had a good shot at it that whole year. Anyway, some of those threadings from that gamp were a straight draw threading. This is a straight draw threading here. And so we applied the 4 units of deflected double weave to those threadings and used them as profiles. So again, we are building on everything that we've learned in the past. We're taking that 4 shaft threading and turning that 4 shaft threading into a 4 block profile. Here is our straight draw. Here is our point draw. And if you follow across here, Al, and aim for the diagonal as I speak, going down across here, you'll see them in their purest form. So we'll start up here in the corner. That's our straight draw, and you can see it's a straight line. Then the next square down, that fella right there, that's based on 2 repeats of a point twill. So 1 2 3 4 3 2 1 2 3 4 3 2 1. But now it's 1 2 1 2 3 4 3 4 5 6 5 6 7 8 7 8, and then back down. Super cool. This one here was from a 6-thread broken twill that we did. So that's it there. A 6-thread broken twill that we did back in season 4. The next one is an asymmetrical point where our threading, so that's that one, an asymmetrical point which went 1 2 3 4 3 2 1 2 3 4. That's it. It's asymmetrical and then starts again on 1 2 3 4 3 2 1 2 3 4. Super cool what we get when we weave that in deflected double weave. The 5th one is Rose Path, was our profile, and this last one, number 6, down at the very bottom, it was a 4-thread broken twill. 4 3 2 4 1 2 3 1. And you know what is so cool about this little fella right here? This comes right off the front of Madeline Vanderhoot's wonderful book, The Complete Book of Drafting for Hand Weavers. And right there is that 4-thread broken twill. 3, 2, 1, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1. Over and over and over. There it is. Only now it's a big feller down here in Deflected Double Weave. Super cool. So much learning. Transposing. Using what we've done before to come up with ideas going forward. So then, after that first gamp was done, well, we all know that we can play with treadlings. Heck, if we learned that when we learned about our twills way back in season 4. So Lisa did this super fun treadling study where she did A's and B's over and over, B's and C's over and over, C's and D's over and over, D's and A's over and over, creating this wonderful gampkin that shows the striping possibilities when you repeat a sequence over and over and over again. This was A, B, C, B, A, B, C, B, A, B, C, B, B, C, D, C, B, C, D, C, B, C, D, C. You know, there's music in there. We're moving around the circle, the twill circle of 1, 2, 3, 4. How does that look when we do that? And there's 4 possibilities to do that. So all of that information that we learned back in season 4 has now come forward into this one. This was what if we do a little repeat that went A, B, A, B, C, D, A, B, A, B, C, D, A, B, A, B, C, D, and you do it over and over and over, and you get all these great patterns on those different threadings. This was another one. Broken. You can tell it's broken. It's a broken treadling over and over and over. We can tell that because this was a broken threading. This was a broken threading. Gamps. Gamps are like the best. So much information. More play. Straight. Changing directions of a straight. So basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1. Over and over and over into a repetitive sequence. Where have we heard about repetitive sequences in the past? This was a tie-up change to make it one side is predominantly dark and the other side is predominantly light. So we did that by changing the tie-up. The one thing I didn't mention is that deflected double weave, when you want this kind of patterning, is woven like a color and weave sequence. Dark, light, dark, light, dark, light. And so that is a common theme throughout the entire piece. And if you look at our hems here, you can see there's a color and weave sequence. We assign a dark to certain blocks and a light to certain blocks, and we follow that system. So the gampkins have provided all of the weavers with enough information to last them for the rest of your life. Like you could just create so many things from these pieces, and that very fact inspired episode 6, which we're going to do in a few minutes after 5. But in episode 6, I thought it would be really important if Lisa took some of these ideas, took some of these threadings, and rather than them being a threading that goes from selvage to selvage, well, let's try that. But let's also see if we can add graphic division of space into it. So we're going to come back and I'll show you everything that we created in season 6, and we worked on it together. It was a great honor and so much fun. Plus we did something else super cool. So I won't tell you any more about it. It's coming up.